Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today the title of the talk is The Enigmatic Glory of Lord Shiva, the greatest Vaishnava and servant of Krishna. So we were going to meditate on one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring and paradoxical figures in the entire Vedic cosmos, Lord Shiva. Srimad Bhagavatam holds Lord Shiva in deep reverence, while also clearly establishing Lord Krishna as supreme. This tension is not a contradiction. It is a divine harmony. So we'll explore these verses, verses 3 and 4 from the 88th chapter, where Lord Shiva is described as intimately connected with material nature. And yet, he is known as the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. Vaishnavarnam Yatha Shambhu. But before we do that, let's explore some basic questions. Who is Lord Shiva? Is he God? Is he a demigod? Is he an incarnation? Is he a jiva? Actually hard to answer. Lord Shiva is a unique category of tattva. He is not Vishnu tattva, nor jiva tattva. Srila Prabhupada repeatedly used the milk to yogurt analogy from Brahma Samhita. It says milk becomes yogurt when fermented, but yogurt is not exactly milk anymore. So Lord Shiva is compared to yogurt, and Lord Vishnu is milk in this analogy. And yogurt is milk modified by contact with. So here, Shiva is basically Vishnu, somewhat modified by contact with material nature, who is Durga. Lord Shiva appears when Krishna comes into touch with external energy for the purpose of destruction or transformation. He is known as Sadashiv in the spiritual world. Yes, he lives in the spiritual world too. And in the material realm, he's known as Rudra, the one who cries very loudly. In the 8th canto, in a purport, Prabhupada explains, this is 8.7.22, he explains, Lord Vishnu acts through Lord Shiva when it comes to dealing with the modes. See, the act of creation and the act of impregnation. You know when Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham bija pradah pita, I am the seed-giving father. The act of that Krishna's act of seed-giving is done through the agency of Lord Shiva. In that sense, Lord Shiva is also the father. So this is found in the purport. Prabhupada explains 8th canto, 8.7.22. It's very intriguing. But we'll go now to our verses for this morning. Shri Shuka Uvacha Shiva Shakti Yuta Shashvat Trilingo Guna Samvrita Vaikarikas Tejashascha Tamasaschetyaham Tridha. Shri Shukadev said, Lord Shiva He's always united with his personal energy, the material nature, manifesting himself in three features in response to the entreaty of nature's three modes. He embodies the threefold principles of material ego and goodness, passion, and ignorance. The next verse. Ato vikara bhavan shoda shameshu kanchana upadhavan vibhutinam sarva samashnute gatim. The 16 elements have evolved as transformations of that false ego. When a devotee of Lord Shiva worships his manifestation in any one of these elements, the devotee obtains all sorts of corresponding enjoyable opulences. Purport by servants of His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. False ego transforms into the mind. 10 senses, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, hands, feet, voice, genitals, and anus. And 5 physical elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Lord Shiva appears in a special linga form in each of these 16 substances, which are worshipped individually as deities in various sacred locations of the universe. A devotee of Shiva may worship one of his particular lingas to obtain the mystic opulences pertaining to it. Thus, Lord Shiva's Akasha linga bestows the opulences of ether. His Jyotirlinga bestows the opulences of fire, and so on. That's the purport. So, Lord Shiva. In verse 3, we learned that Shiva manifests in response to the 3 gunas, the 3 modes. He's always in touch with Prakriti, Prakriti meaning the material nature. Unlike Vishnu, who always remains aloof. And then in verse 4, from the material ego arises 16 elements, the mind, 5 gross elements, the 10 senses. It's a 16. And Lord Shiva is present in special lingas associated with each one of them. Now the worshippers of Lord Shiva, through any one of these elemental lingas, can receive corresponding opulences. Earth, you get wealth. Air, you get strength. Ether, you get sense of openness. This shows that Lord Shiva has opulences, vibhutis, but not Bhagavan status. He doesn't have all the opulences like Krishna. He has a lot though. He facilitates material prosperity, but he is not the source of liberation by himself. When it comes time to give liberation, he works in partnership with the Lord, just as everybody else. Because only Krishna is the one who actually gives liberation, Mukunda. So Lord Shiva's oneness with the elements makes him accessible to the materialists, the yogis alike. But his heart, Lord Shiva's heart, belongs to the lotus feet of Govinda. In the Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto, a very famous line says, Lord Shambhu, Shiva is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So despite his closeness to material energy, Lord Shiva is immersed in transcendence. Shiva's bhakti shines forth in so many different pastimes. In the Mohini Murti Leela, the 8th canto, Shiva was bewildered. And afterward, he did tapasya to purify his thoughts. So this shows his integrity and humility. In Vrindavan, he seeks entrance to the Ras Leela as Gopishwar Mahadev, desiring the lotus feet of the gopis. He's constantly chanting Rama, Rama, and glorifying Vishnu in countless stories and instances through the Puranas. So his bhakti is paramount. In Chaitanya Leela, Advaita Acharya is identified as a combination of Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva, highlighting his role in inaugurating Sankirtan. So he's he's on our altars in that picture. In ISKCON temple, we are not bereft of worshipping Lord Shiva. If we want to become great Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is a model of humility, detachment, and devotion. What is that pastime of Lord Shiva and Mohini Murti? After the churning of the milk ocean, Lord Vishnu assumed this enchanting female form of Mohini Murti to bewilder the demons and distribute the nectar of immortality to the devas. So when Lord Shiva heard, Lord Shiva wasn't too far away. He just drank the poison, from that episode. So after he heard this, he got astonished. Whoa, Lord Vishnu has taken an incredibly bewildering, beautiful form. I'm curious. He became curious. He approached Lord Vishnu and Parvati. He came with Parvati and he requested, later on, by the way, this is later, he said, please, my Lord, let me witness that extraordinary form of yours that bewilders even the wise. Vishnu said, are you sure? Yeah, please, I want to see. So then Vishnu smiled and then he agreed. And right before Lord Shiva's eyes, he transformed into Mohini Murti. It's an embodiment of mesmerizing feminine beauty, like never seen before. And upon seeing her, Lord Shiva, who is otherwise the emblem of renunciation, became completely captivated. Overcome with desire, he began to follow her, his mind and senses fully bewildered. You can imagine his wife is standing right there. He's running behind Mohini. So even though this divine illusion publicly agitated him, Lord Shiva made no attempt to hide or excuse what happened. And after the form vanished, Lord Shiva regained composure and laughed at himself. He humbly acknowledged how powerful the Lord's Maya was, the potency of the Lord. So instead of hiding or justifying it, he returned and performed penances to remove that subtle impression of running behind illusion. This shows his transparency and his aspiration for ultimate purity. Prabhupada comments that Lord Shiva's greatness is not that he doesn't get bewildered, but that he doesn't get proud or degraded by it. And lesson for us is that Lord Shiva shows us how to deal with our lower tendencies with honesty and tapasya in the service of Lord Vishnu. Recognize it, deal with it carefully, and perform austerity so that we can move forward with purity, with full focus on Krishna and nothing else. Again, in the churning of the milk episode, when the poison comes out, Lord Krishna tells the demigods to approach Lord Shiva for help on how to handle this poison that was really choking up the whole universe. Lord Shiva is empowered by Lord Vishnu to handle difficult material situations. Prabhupada clarifies that when material activities are to be performed, Lord Vishnu performs them through Lord Shiva. That's why Lord Shiva is both feared and revered, because he's connected to both transformation, the material realm, and transcendence. Shiva's worship does grant material benedictions. There's no doubt about it. If you do it properly, you can get a lot of material things. But a mature devotee seeks Lord Shiva's mercy to serve Krishna. We can think of Krishna as the CEO in the company, and Lord Shiva as the department head of transformation and dissolution. He's the department head who reports to CEO. He has a function, he has a role. But Lord Shiva also yearns for the sweetness of Vraja Bhakti, worship of Lord Krishna in his intimate dham, intimate abode of Vrindavan. It's called Vraja Bhakti, the service in Vrindavan. So once upon a time, in the town of Nandagram, in Vraja, there was this beautiful episode of Asheshwar Mahadev. So when Lord Krishna moved to Gokul, moved from Gokul to this town of Nandagram, because the whole family moved, and he was just a baby. So Lord Krishna brought all his divine pastimes with him. At that time, Lord Shiva, Mahadev, was eager for the supreme blessing of darshan of baby Krishna. And he traveled all the way from Kashi, Kashi is Varanasi, Banaras, to Nandagram, arriving with his matted hair and ashes from cremation ground smeared all over his body, large poisonous snake, a big venomous snake coiled around his neck, actually a whole bunch of snakes, and this very scary looking weapon, and his damaru drum, for beating. So Lord Shiva appeared quite fearsome to all the residents of Vraja, who were just simple, caretakers of the cows. Now, when he reached the door of Mother Yashoda at her palace, she opened the door and saw this terrifying looking yogi, immediately slammed the door shut, afraid he might harm her child. Then from behind the door, she started scolding him. Please go away, Baba. You're kind of freaking everybody out. And if my little Lala sees you, Lala is, her little baby boy, it'll not be good. It'll be so scary for him. You have these snakes and whatnot. She scolded him, said, I cannot let you near here. And the Baba said, no, my dear Maya, I need to see your Lala. That's what I came here all the way from Varanasi. And he was crying. And she says, no, you can't go. So he was rejected. He felt completely heartbroken. So he walked with his head down to the nearby forest. He sat down in meditation and began to wait, hoping against hope, crying for Krishna. Krishna, I want to see you. I came all the way here and I know you're here. I know there's hope though. I know you, my Lord, you will always fulfill your devotees' desires. So I'm going to hope against hope. So he was meditating. The Sanskrit word for hope is asha. Asha means hope. And because Lord Shiva sat there with such intense asha, intense hope for Krishna's darshan, he became known as Asheshwar Mahadev. Asheshwar, the Lord of Hope. Meanwhile, little baby Krishna started to cry uncontrollably. He wasn't speaking, just still too young to speak. He was incredibly cute, you can imagine. No one could console baby Krishna, not even Mother Yashoda, not even Nanda Maharaj, not the elder gopis, no one. Now, one of the elderly and clever gopis finally suggested, someone must have cast an evil eye, drishti, on this child. And they began thinking, who visited the house that day? And they remembered that strange yogi with the snakes. So what they did was they quickly sent a messenger, some messengers to the forest to find the yogi. And sure enough, they found Lord Shiva in deep meditation, and they brought him back. Lord Shiva smilingly scrambled, yes, of course. As soon as Shiva entered and baby Krishna saw him, Krishna started laughing and joyfully. But then Mother Yashoda closed the door again out of caution. And Krishna resumed crying. And Lord Shiva requested, Maya, if your Lala's soft, cute foot is placed on my head, only then will he stop crying. So then the gopis, they lifted baby Krishna and gently placed his lotus foot on Lord Shiva's head. At that moment, Lord Shiva began to dance in ecstasy, and baby Krishna began to laugh in joy. And the entire courtyard of Nandagram was filled with bliss. Mother Yashoda is now convinced of Lord Shiva's pure devotion. She invited him to stay in Nandagram forever. Lord Shiva agreed, but with two very beautiful conditions. He said, I'll stay in Nandagram, I promise. But the condition is that whenever you bathe your Lala, that bath water, you bring it and pour it all over me. This is Charnamrit, the water from Krishna's bathing ceremony. And whenever you feed your Lala, you bring me his remnants. Whatever little is left, you please give it to me. This is Mahaprasad, Krishna's leftover food. Please bring that for me. So these two requests became the foundation of the proper worship in Vrindavan. Worship Krishna first, and then offer his Charnamrit and Mahaprasad to the Devtas. And to this day in Nandagram, the deity of Krishna is bathed. His Charnamrit is then poured on Asheshwar Mahadev, whose temple is just in the corner of that same courtyard. And after Krishna is fed, his Mahaprasad is then offered to Lord Shiva. And the local children still affectionately refer to him as the Lord of Hope. And this worship continues unbroken. So things for us to ponder is Lord Shiva's humility and his willingness to wait endlessly for Krishna's mercy, waiting for, with a lot of hope against hope. This is called dhairya, patience. We have to be patient in our hope as well. Don't stop hoping Krishna will give us his mercy, and we continue to offer him our heart. Krishna reciprocates with his devotees' longings. Another thing to understand is a proper worship of demigods through Krishna's prasad, not independent rituals. No, you're also God, he's also God. No. There's only one God. Everybody has to be, if you want to bring anybody in the picture, it has to be in the context of serving the Supreme Lord. And of course, the sweetness of Raja Leela, always infused, imbued, and saturated with honey-like sweetness, every aspect of it, every word. And how even the greatest beings like Mahadev find their perfection in serving the feet of this Vraja Gopala. So for us ISKCON devotees, Prabhupada told us not to indiscriminately worship demigods for material gain, but he gave us sanctioned ways to honor Lord Shiva. Remember him as Gopishwar Mahadev. Here he's dressed as a gopi because he wanted to serve Krishna in this Ras Leela. So when we pray for entrance into Vraj Bhakti, we can bow to him. We see him as a guna avatar of the mode of Tamagun, empowered by Krishna. We see Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava Acharya, the protector of the Dham on all four sides. And we can pray to Lord Shiva in valid mood, please bless me to serve Radha Krishna without any offenses. So we avoid the offense of minimizing Lord Shiva's position or making any kind of sectarian judgments. He's not just a destroyer or meditator, he's a lover of Krishna. His greatest joy is to assist the pastimes of Radha Krishna. So we can beg him to clear the impurities in our heart. This is actually a prayer written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, Vrindavanavani Pate Jaya Soma Soma Mulye Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Naradedya Gopishvara Vraja Vilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. O keeper of Vrindavan, O gatekeeper, O Soma, all glories to you. O you whose forehead is decorated with the moon and who is worshipable to the sages headed by Sanak Sanatan, Sanandan and Narada. O Gopishwara, desiring that you bestow upon me pure love for the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, who perform joyous pastimes in Vrajadam, I offer my obeisances unto you again and again. So, the qualities to emulate is detachment. He lives in cremation grounds, smears ash over his body, doesn't chase material prestige. Compassion. He drinks this halal poison to save the universe. Devotee means one who takes others' suffering seriously and springs to action to help. Tapa. He's a deep meditator. He's not distracted by lower things like fame or wealth. This is something we can learn when we meditate on the holy names. His bhakti for Vishnu is unshakable. Even when surrounded by demigods or ghosts, he stays fixed on Vishnu, on the Supreme Lord. And humility. He never claims superiority. He even accepts being misunderstood. It's fine. I don't care. Whatever the Lord wants, I'll accept. So question for ourselves is, can we adopt even a fraction of Lord Shiva's qualities in our own Krishna consciousness? And as we go through the rest of the chapter on the story of Brikasur and how Lord Shiva gave him this dangerous boon, we can think of the innocence of this great devotee, Lord Shiva, who is famously known as Bholenath. Bholenath means the sweet and innocent Shiva. When we adore his qualities, Krishna is pleased. And when we try to develop a deep connection of love with Krishna, following in the footsteps of Mahadev, Gopishwar, then our lives will be successful. He's an inspiration, and we can learn a lot from these episodes that are in the Bhagavatam. Remember, there's not even one word in the Bhagavatam that is not accelerating us toward Krishna. These stories are to be taken seriously and to be meditated upon, and we can imbibe the essence and accelerate our own progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much for your time and kindly hearing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Madana Gopala Prabhu. Before we open it up for questions and answers, we'd like to celebrate you as a Vaishnava, because today Madana Gopala Prabhu is celebrating his appearance day, dear devotees. So please unmute yourself and bless Madana Gopala Prabhu. He's, of all the things he could have done in life with his faculties, mental faculties, his big heart, his leadership qualities, he chose to be a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava who is not just floating in outer space. He is a Vaishnava who is going out and sharing what he has learned and assimilated with us. Thank you, Madame Gopal Prabhu, for being who you are, for spending the time with us regularly. Really, really. To have a devotee like you in life is a boon, is a benediction. Thank you so much. Madame Gopal Prabhu is a walking boon. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your kind words, Prabhu.
I'd like to say something. If any time I have ever had the impulse or the need to interject, it's that when I listen to Madana Gopal, because of exactly what Ananda Bihari said, and also the fact that you have you have Madana Gopal, who's a success, like Shiva, right? And he's a success. Like you can emulate, you can look to him That's what an acharya is. You look to them and you say, okay, I'm going to model my behavior. I'm going to see that it is possible. Indeed, that's a wild one. The books are one thing. Even the great acharyas from the past are another thing. But to see it in living action, I had the same feeling with Radhanath Maharaj and Madana Gopala. I really appreciate when you give class. I've never, in my 40 years on and off in Krishna consciousness, uh, allowed myself to become immersed and to explore and to consider and to bow down to Lord Shiva in my heart as to when you talk about what that particular relationship is all about. And it's always been rather foggy for us in the Western world who are monotheistic and have a hard time in our cognitive framework, which was brought up with either you don't worship God or you do. That's it, and God is one. To see the variety, the depth and breadth of drama and the personality, and how Krishna has welcomes all this variety all the way up to Shiva, and then, of course, onward to Radharani. And it just all makes sense, especially when you speak it, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vinay Prabhu. Your words mean a lot. I always appreciate your inputs and your elucidating commentaries, Vinay Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Min has a hand up. Hare Krishna, Min.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for class and happiest birthday. We're so grateful to have your association. Yeah, very similar to what Bhima said. Don't really get to hear so much about Lord Shiva, but when you're speaking about him being rejected by Mother Yashoda, go away. It actually like got really emotional there. Him being turned away, and it just made me think of another incident, right? When he's rejected by Daksha, and he goes through because what he looks like. And so when you spoke about his humility and compassion, it just hit me how much humility and compassion he has, and so many good qualities that we could actually follow by his example. And I thought it really, your lecture was such a great lecture in continuation of the lecture you gave last night. How do we enter Vrindavan? How do we live in Braj? And for you to bring up Lord Shiva, it was so beautiful. Follow him to go to live in Braj. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Min. Yes, Lord Shiva is very powerful. I mean, you can imagine. Yes, he's so humble and he's so patient, and he just takes if he's very sad or something, he just accepts it in humility. And he's the right person who can have that, because he has the capability of getting angry and destroying the entire universe. That's what he does. That's his job. So you can imagine if he gets upset at the wrong time. So you can only give that power to someone who can handle it, right? Emotionally speaking. So he's very stable, you can say, emotional. At the same time, his job, when the time is right, is to get super angry and destroy everything. So
Can we emulate that?
yes, when the time is right.
When the time is right. Okay.
Can I give you a call to find out when that time is right? Because I would really love to be able to destroy the universe when I get angry.
Yeah.
Cool. Temple Room Adipurusha Prabhu, would you like to speak? Would you like to inquire submissively from Madana Gopala Prabhu?
My obeisances, Adi Purushro. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for, sharing with us. And everyone's already said it. Krishna is so wonderful. One of the features of the Lord, one of the activities of the Lord that is most endearing, is that he's reaching out to us. And Lord Shiva is a fantastic example of Krishna's mercy, as you are, Madana Gopala Prabhu, reaching out to us fallen souls. And we've seen in our exploits, in our experience in devotional service, going to different places and offering people access to devotional service. We go to concerts and football games and different places where people are gathered together, um, and deeply immersed in intoxication and roasting dead animals on fire and stuff like that. And, we find that there are, some of these musician concerts, the groups are in varying degrees of darkness, and there are some musical gatherings where you see everybody is dressed in black. They have black lipstick, they have pierced ears and nose and face and everything. Even across the street from the Bhakti Center, there used to be a S&M bar, that is sadomasochistic bar. And they would come out at 4 o'clock in the morning when the bar emptied out, and the girls would have a dog collar and a leash, and the guys had pierced everything and whips and chains hanging from their belt. They would beat each other. Sadists and masochists compliment each other by torturing each other. That's what they're so covered over and jaded that's a form of enjoyment.
That's any marriage, Prabhu. That's any marriage.
Well, not that I've heard from prophets. I think there's different varieties of marriages as well as different varieties of people. And the reaching out, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than one who shares this message with others. So Lord Shiva is attracted to those people that are immersed in the mode of passion and ignorance. They find that they see his fearsome features and his, abominable, smeared with ashes from the crematorium and skulls around his neck and snake, and they find him very attractive, but he brings them to Krishna by some means, even hobgoblins and creatures like that are subhuman. So he's very kind like that, and that's Krishna's mercy on us. And thank you very much, Madana Gopal. We see you as somebody, an emissary. Your spiritual master is empowering you in such an extraordinary way that we feel like, your kindness upon us. Thank you so much. Anyway, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hey Krishna. Thank you. You're always very kind upon me. I think Janita Prabhu wanted to say something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish you a happy Vyas Puja Day.
Yeah.
And glories to you. Somehow I was thinking, what to say. And what came to mind was that Prabhupada said, you will know my students, my disciples, because they're perfect, ladies and gentlemen. And you're the epitome of being a perfect gentleman. You're like punctual, clean, erudite. You're, just so well-mannered, such a, yeah, being around you is auspicious. You just feel it in your presence. So whenever you give class, you can see so many devotees gathered together. You speak so nicely. You present in such a wonderful way that, you always have these great slides. So you're attracting people also because we're on the screen. So you're just so thoughtful in so many ways, and so professional and so expert. So I just really wanted to appreciate what an honor it's been to be here and get to know you, and the little bit of time that I've had with you. It's really a great honor and privilege. So happy Vyas Puja Day to you.
Hey,
I also had a question. I don't know if there's a little bit of time.
sure.
Unless someone else wanted to glorify and offer homage to, but my question was, in probably my first sort of 20 years in ISKCON, it seemed that Lord Shiva was kind of a suppressed figure and not really glorified much and talked about. In the last few years, it seems to have come out more that he is really Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. And I'm just wondering if you could touch on that. I think Bhima said in whatever 40 years, he never really glorified Lord Shiva. I know it was something that was almost avoided, at least in the circles that I was moving in. But now and I was always confused by that, why we would say is Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, yet we would kind of stray away from glorification of him. Anything you could say on that point?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for your kind words. It really means a lot. It's very humbling. there is a market shift I've seen in ISKCON also over time. I think a lot of it is to do with, first of all, in the earlier days, the focus was, let us not get distracted and be confused. So we focus on the core message. Like if you remember Prabhupada, even he wouldn't focus on, say, the Varnashram aspect. He said, I'll give Varnashram later. He want to focus on setting the foundation is Krishna. Krishna is Supreme Lord, number one beyond the second. And then later on, as we understand, then there's Radharani. Oh, wait, there's somebody else. And there's more and there's more. And you realize Krishna is never alone. And Krishna is meant to be worshipped with so many others. But in the beginning, we have to first anchor our consciousness in Krishna. But as we read the books, and as devotees read Prabhupada's books more and more, and they heard more closely at his lectures, it's really a matter of listening more carefully to Prabhupada. Prabhupada always glorified Lord Shiva properly, with the proper framework. He's not ordinary Jiva, and he's exactly Vishnu. Shiva, the perfect devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he traveled in South India, he went to the Lord Shiva temples and he danced in ecstasy. He didn't avoid those temples. In the beginning, when I was which is really funny, because maybe I'll tell this story later, but Lord Shiva had a very direct, I feel, role in my life in coming to Krishna consciousness. Maybe I can tell it on the other side. But it was, you can see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does that, dancing in ecstasy. So he reciprocates with the Lord. We know Lord Ram has nice interaction with Lord Shiva. And of course, Lord Ram's greatest devotee, Hanumanji, is an expansion of Lord Shiva. So in our Tawako temple, we worship Lord Shiva in two places on the altar. We have Hanumanji and we have Advaita Acharya. So we're not bereft of his worship. It's just that we have to worship with a proper rasa, without any rasa bas. We have to worship. We have to worship Lord Shiva, but we have to worship in its context of how he serves in a particular rasa to the Lord. You see, so as Vaishnavas, yes. And then we offer, like when whatever food we offer to Lord Ram, then we first then offer it to Hanuman. After it's been offered, that prasad goes to Hanumanji, and then it's offered to the rest of the Vaishnavas. So, Lord Shiva is an amazing, amazing personality. And we're so fortunate Sri Prabhupada has given the right way of doing it. But you're right, as time goes by and as we mature, Prabhupada said, I've given everything in my books. So if we mature and read every sentence carefully, we'll be filled with ecstasy and we'll have a much more deep appreciation of Lord Shiva, the other divine personalities that are there that enrich the whole experience of Krishna consciousness. Nobody's left out. Even Lord Ganesh is there. You read Brahma Samhita, Ganesh is there, Durga is there, who she is, what she does. Sati, who's the wife of Lord Shiva, that is Durga, Parvati. And what they went through, if Lord Shiva can go through this kind of marital discord, we shouldn't be worried too much. We have all kinds of amazing stuff that's going on, yes. So much to see in the Bhagavatam. So thank you for highlighting that. It's very important for us to approach it carefully. At the same time, we stick to our program of chanting our rounds. So I hope our altar is going to open soon. I think it's about a minute. But Lord Shiva means auspicious. The word Shiva means auspicious. He's there for a reason. And of course, he takes on a female form. He takes on this beautiful female form because only females are allowed in the rasa dance. It's amazing. And so we saw that form in the sari, but she still sticks to the moon and the snakes. They're really into that. And what Adi Purush Prabhu said, Lord Shiva gives mercy to everyone, including, in particular, the most downtrodden, the ghosts, and those who have very bad situations, like those people coming out at 4 o'clock in the morning from the bar across the street. They're very similar to Lord Shiva's associates. Shri Radha Murlidhar ki jai. So please, dear devotees, if you can you can turn on your cameras, then Radha Murlidhar can be presented with a little image of your face as well. While you're taking darshan of him, of them, they can also take darshan of you and give their blessings.
Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Maham
Bhajami Govinda Hari Purna Aham Venam Kwanamaravinadaya Daksham Bharamatam Samasita Buddhasuna Kandarbhakoti Kamaya Vicheshasho Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusha Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusha Bhajami Angani Angayasya Sakana The only way by which you can obtain pure devotional service. Love is laid feet, great awe and reverence. By His grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My own wish is to have my consciousness purified by the word emanating from His lotus mouth. Attachment, affection, fills all my eyes. He'll fill my darkened eyes and fills my heart. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From an ecstatic precipice, our ignorance is destroyed. Vedic scriptures claim His character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, Lord of masters and devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. He'll give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Dear devotees, welcome to the Afterglow. Madana Gopala Prabhu, you have it. Ram doesn't want to leave. Madana
Hare
Gopala
Krishna
Prabhu,
Ram.
you have a few minutes to stay with us all the
Yes,
time?
yes, I can stay a few minutes, sure.
Thank you. Would anyone like to ask a
Oh,
question?
there's a question that in the chat that I have to
Okay.
address.
Okay.
There's a couple of questions. I think Sadhvi Didi asked a question. Was it Sadhvi? Yeah, I think Sadhvi asked about, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita. Believe it is, anyway, there's a verse where Krishna says of the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. So basically, just to explain real short, is that, like he says, of the Yakshas, and I'm Kuvera, and of the Vasus, I'm fire, of the mountains, I'm Meru. So like that, of any given category, he is the most empowered, and he is the the epitome of that particular category. So Of the Rudras, I'm Shiva. Now, there are 11 powerful deities, all known as Rudras. They're all really expansions, and the original Rudra is Lord Shiva. He's a chief among Rudras. So basically, what Krishna is saying is that among destructive or transformative forces, I'm most strongly represented as Lord Shiva. Now, by saying that, Krishna also highlights that even that destruction, even though he's delegated it, is completely under his control. And it serves a part of his divine plan of transformation, rejuvenation, and renewal. So that's really what it's about. And I think there was another question. Jeffrey Ackler asked, is Shiva kind of like an alchemist of the material and spiritual energies, ultimately empowered to fully combine material existence with spiritual life? It's an interesting word, alchemist. Those of you who know, or if you don't know alchemy, alchemy is science, ancient science of trying to create gold out of other metals by doing some chemical thing. So is he kind of a combiner of sorts? In a sense, yes, he is. An alchemist tries to combine things, metals and things that don't normally combine very easily. For example, ghee and water. You mix it together, you shake it in the jar. No amount of shaking is going to cause them to dissolve or create one, unified liquid. However, it's possible. It's possible because there is something known as an emulsifier. What an emulsifier does is that emulsifier is a molecule that has a hydrophilic end at one side and a lipophilic end at the other side. Hydrophilic means it attaches to water molecule, and lipophilic means it attaches to fat molecule. And so now it creates one molecule that appears to be water and fat combined. It appears, but it's a third molecule that keeps it together. And when we have that, we get milk. Milk is basically a suspension of fat and water. See? And if you want to separate it, you really beat it, and you get butter, and then water separates, right? So when you beat it, the molecule shakes it off, you see. So why am I giving this analogy? Is because Lord Shiva, if you saw today's verse, it talks about ego and how false ego is empowered by Lord Shiva in one sense. Lord Shiva is the personification of that impregnation into the universe of the souls. You see, there's a painting of Lord Vishnu glancing at Durga, and the rays from Lord Vishnu's eyes are going into her body. That in that glance, that's like the mechanism by which all the souls are then parked or transported into the material universe. And then by this combination of the false ego, which then makes one think that I'm the body, you have this unusual combination of water and fat, this colloidal suspension. Now the glance personified is Lord Shiva. You see, the personification of the glance is Lord Shiva. That we learn in the Brahma Samhita. So that's why Lord Shiva plays a very important role in that. But of course, because he's also spiritual, his main goal is to also uplift the various fallen souls and all that. So thank you. I hope that helps, Jeffrey.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just have one clarification question. You say we learned this in the Brahma Samhita. Those are the Shambhu verses of the Brahma Samhita. Now I need to go back and read them again.
That's right.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. That was amazing. I love the idea of transitioning from the idea of alchemy to emulsification. It's much more appropriate, and I appreciate your intelligence in that regard. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Somebody asked, oh yes, Min referenced the class from last night. So I've been offering Nectar of Instruction series, and every Tuesday night. So if you're interested, Venu Madhuri Mataji has very kindly placed the recordings there, and perhaps you can also share the Zoom link for next Tuesdays. We have 2 more sessions to go, so we can share that as well. It's a night at 9 o'clock. Krishna Kumari Mataji has her hand up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm so grateful to be with you on your Vyasa Puja. I just know how pleased you've made those who have inspired you, Satsrup Das Goswami and Vegavati Prabhuji, and just Radhamurli Dar and Gaurachandra's glance. And I don't want to speak too long. I almost didn't, but I do want to hear this personal story you were going to share about you and Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So when I was little, maybe around 4 or 5, I come from a family that worships Lord Shiva and Durga. So my grandmother used to tell me you should worship Lord Shiva. And she gave me these beads, set of 108 beads, but they're not made of tulsi. They're made of this other material called rudraksh. Rudraksh are the beads, they're berries that are dry, like wooden berries that are used to worship Lord Shiva. So I used to worship as a little kid. Lord Shiva used to stand up and chant his mantra. And then I think I saw in a movie or something that, if you want to do some austerity, you got to stand on one foot and chant. So I used to stand on one foot and chant in front of the pictures. And it was, it was fun. And then she would tell me that, you should pray to Lord Shiva for things that'll make you successful. You should pray that you'll have good financial success in your life. You'll do well in school. You should pray that you'll be hugely successful like your grandfather. My grandfather's really good in business. And you'll have lots of cars and houses all over the world. And she had this idea, you want to become a big man in the world. Now, what was funny was I was growing up in the 80s, early 80s. And at that time, so watch movies, there's Indian movies. And those movies in those days, the bad guys were always the rich guys. And then the good guys were like, this is a poor guy or whatever, didn't have too much money. I'm like, why would I pray to become like a villain? Doesn't make any sense. Like the guys with helicopters and cars and whatnot, and so many, lots of money, but they're always the bad guys. So I was a little confused. At the one hand, she wants me to be like a smuggler or something, or very successful, in the world. So I was confused. So then I used to just pray to Lord Shiva that, my Lord, I know you're God, but I'm getting mixed messages. So maybe you can just give me what you think is the best. I'm not going to ask you what I think anything. You think for me, and you please benedict upon me what you think is the best. And then I would pray like that. And I'm convinced that Lord Shiva then kind of coordinated my trajectory of life to come into contact with Krishna consciousness, the Prabhupada's message. And then later on, I learned there's a very famous Gujarati saint, Vaishnava saint, very famous one. He used to be a Shiva devotee himself. And Lord Shiva appeared to him. That devotee's name is Narsi Mehta. Very famous. He's written many poems. He's known all over Gujarat, and most of India knows him. Mahatma Gandhi made him very famous as well. So he once saw Lord Shiva, like Lord Shiva came in front of him, asked him, what do you want? And Narsi Mehta didn't know what to ask. He said, whatever is most dear to you, my Lord, you please just give me darshan of that. And Lord Shiva said, yes, very smart. You should always ask that kind of thing. Don't think you know what's best for you. So then he took Narsi Mehta by hand and took him to the Rasa Leela of Krishna. He said, here, look, this is the most beautiful vision. Just look from a distance. This is Krishna. This is the most intimate manifestation of divinity that exists. And Narsi Mehta then was so thankful to Lord Shiva, and he became a Vaishnava, and he wrote many things in glorification of Lord Shiva. Anyway, it's a very small story, but my point is that Lord Shiva is extremely kind. He's known as Ashutosh. He gets pleased very easily with just a little bit of tapasya. And then he'll give you whatever you want. But if you ask him for what he wants, then he's very pleased and he gives you Krishna. So that I'm convinced about. So Krishna is very kind in that way. Lord Shiva is very kind in that way. And Lord Shiva, by the way, he has his own sampradaya. Who don't worship Lord Shiva, they worship Krishna. It's called the Rudra Sampradaya. In the modern day Pushti Marg, those who worship Srinathji, Nath Dwara, and the Vallabhacharya line, they come from Lord Shiva's lineage. of his sampradaya. So yes, his part in our lives, all of our lives, is big. It's big. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, I
Thank you very much. That was so clear. I have a bit of a question. You know, in the afterglow, it's a little bit informal, so sometimes people make statements, sometimes in a humorous way, but sometimes there's a little bit of truth, even in joking. Someone was saying that all marriages are in the mode of destructive ignorance or something like that. And I was thinking, I never heard that from Prabhupada. I thought just like anything else, it can be done properly or it can become in a complete entangled mess. So just to make sure that we leave off on the proper understanding on that subject, is it possible to have a marriage that is Krishna conscious, or is that just a phantasmagoria?
It's a good question. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of humor in that question too. That some people make these humorous jokes because it's kind of, there's some exasperation that's an element in every marriage. If you don't have exasperation in your marriage, at least at some point, then there's something wrong with your marriage. I can't believe you didn't understand me. It's part of life. It's part of being spicy. However, I attribute anything. I would not have survived without my marriage, without my wife, Mansi Ganga, in Krishna consciousness at all. Prabhupada writes this, and this I would very strongly urge everyone to read this purport in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, verses 8 through 12, where Krishna says that detachment from wife, children, family, etc. is one of the items of knowledge. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, as for detachment from wife, children, family, etc., it is not that one should not have affection for these. These are natural objects of affection. So please read that purport in the paragraph. And I've quoted this so many times. And he says that if they're conducive, and all you have to do is, if they're conducive to do 4 things, then you'll be happy in your life. 4 things mean chant Hare Krishna together, worship the deity, offer the food to Krishna, and read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam together. If you do these 4 things, family life will be happy. And he
went past.
What about the dishes?
the dishes are part. There's an expansion of the offering of the food.
Yes.
And you have to, yes, that's why it's all covered. Everything is covered. You worship the deity, it means it includes doing the laundry, because you can't worship the deity in dirty clothes. So everything is included in all those 4 statements. You'll be happy if you do the dishes.
Yes, and please forgive Adi had taken it out of the humor context. Anything taken out of context is going to lose its way. But yeah, it's like you said, Prabhu, if you're not fighting in your marriage, you're not fighting for each other, and you're not fighting to improve. Growth means pain, and pain means things that are challenging. And if your dearest one can't challenge you to become a pure devotee, and trust me, that's what everybody wants. Could you imagine being married to a pure devotee? So we have to both struggle to purify. And yeah, it is like that. It's like coming out of a bar at 4 a.m. ready to tussle, because it's fun, because you have to, because you've made that commitment. The important thing is the commitment. So I just wanted to rebase that in the fact that, yeah, you got to do that tussle. You got to wear those clothes, those leathers, and you got to be ready to rumble if you want a good marriage. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that's true. It's all about commitment, and you don't have to be a pure devotee. However, you have to try to do as many pure acts as possible. That's all. That's how you end up being one. You don't have to try to be a pure devotee or even attain that label of pure devotee. Just said, this one little act, I'm going to do it purely. This one flower I'm offering Krishna, I'll do it with all purity at my command. And then after that, okay, fine, I'll be impure in between things. Like my mind is whatever. But now the next act will be also pure. So if you have a string of pure acts, and then what happens, your tolerance for impure things will go down. You won't tolerate impurity. And then that's all. We don't need to, that's how you define a pure devotee, is one whose intention is to always offer one thing after another with purity. That's all, including doing the dishes or the laundry or whatever it may be, the pure intent. You see, Otherwise, unloading the dishwasher is one of the most dreary tasks, but you can infuse that also with appreciation. Yeah, it's possible. Of course it's possible. 1, that I have a dishwasher. 2, I have dishes to unload. And 3, we had Mahaprasadam. We have prasadam. 4, I have a family. 5, I have a house. And all of a sudden, now that act of unloading dishwasher is something that's full of gratitude and love. It takes a little bit of practice.
I do have to say, Madana Gopala and Mansi Ganga are a perfect example of that. So if you want to see it, just be in their association.
Yes, Stephanie Mataji has been very kind, and Stephanie Mataji, you've come to our home a couple of times and you've given us your association. It's been very sweet, and you're always so appreciative. Thank you, and we appreciate you very much as well. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Well, we definitely have more appreciation for Lord Shiva that he brought you to Shishi Radha Damodar. Thank you for being here with us. It's really special.
Hare Krishna. So Venu Madhuri very kindly shared her phone number with everyone. If you would like to reach out to her and chat on those Nectar of Instruction series. I have put a lot of effort into those presentations. So if you'd like to see them and give us your feedback, I'd appreciate it as well. So thank you again for your kind association. I always appreciate this progressive circle. Everybody who comes to this class is just a gem, and you're always so encouraging each other. And all of you just such great examples of Krishna consciousness from such diverse backgrounds. I always look forward to giving class here. And even when I'm not giving class, whenever I can join, I try to join to see what other devotees have to say. So my obeisances again to all of you. And thank you again for your kind encouragement and blessings. And look forward to seeing you many more sessions over many more years. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol. Thank you.
Madana Gopala Prabhu ki jai. Wonderful. What a celebration.
Thank you very much for today. Hare Krishna.
No, thank you.
Hemangi, please unmute yourself. Hold it, Hemangi. Chant the mantra. Recite the mantra, please, to complete the offering.
Thank you so much, Madan Gopal Prabhu. You're so much, you inspire us so much, and our progress in Krishna consciousness is so much because of you. Really appreciate you. Your presentations are beautiful. Please keep inspiring us, and please keep us in your prayers on this auspicious day.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Thank you, Hemangi. Perfect.
Happy to see Manpreet Mataji here. Thank you. Manpreet Mataji, she's been recently connecting and joining. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
Manpreet, welcome. Welcome to the Sangha. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hare Bol.
Madan Gopalji is the reason I'm part of this. So very, very grateful.
Hare Krishna. And Meher is right there.
Meher's
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining. Hare Bol. We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Happy birthday. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.